I have frequent opportunities to observe the activity on my daily commute from the east bank to the west bank of the Delaware River. I observe how the road is traveled from the standpoint of a pedestrian or a child waiting for the school bus right out here. And from the perspective of my car, I observe how others and myself travel that road. The ambulance driver goes on the road swiftly and decisively to St. Mary's Hospital. The traveler, with eyes like a deer in the headlights, tries to figure out the difference between I-95 and I-295. The sales representative pulls over to make a call on her cellular phone. Many of you have one major route that you travel each and every day, the main one. I call it the rabbit trail. You place that road in your own mind with me this morning as we journey together as God's people. Now navigate with me in your imaginative GPS to our gospel reading where Luke makes mention of that famous rocky road between Jerusalem and Jericho. The lonely 17-mile stretch begins in Jerusalem at 2,700 feet above sea level and ends at Jericho at 820 feet below sea level, a drop of 3,520 feet. 5 miles above Jericho was a particularly treacherous pass called the Ascent of Blood, known for sharp canyons and hairpin turns. The parable this morning tells of 5 people who make their way along this very same road. Spiritually speaking, however, each traveler takes a different journey along this same dangerous road. There is no difference in the actual road. It's the same road. What makes the difference is the way the road is traveled. The first man walks the road from Jerusalem to Jericho as a peaceful and lawful traveler. He was probably a commuter, a Jewish commuter going from Jerusalem to Jericho. The second man comes along on the same road with his accomplices and robs and injures the first traveler. He makes the journey one of unlawful destruction. Then comes a third traveler, a priest, along the same road. He sees the unfortunate man assaulted by the robbers. Perhaps he is momentarily caught in the dilemma about what to do, but not for long. The priest walks the road of indifference. Next, the fourth traveler, a Levite, a priest's assistant, comes along the same road from Jerusalem to Jericho. He sees the injured man, even nestles up closer to the accident scene. But he too walks past unmoved. He continues the journey of self-absorption and callousness. Finally, a fifth sojourner, a Samaritan, historic enemy of the Jewish people, a surprising hero like a member of Hamas in an Israeli play today, or a Russian cast as a hero in a Ukrainian play. He comes along the very same road. He takes the high road of mercy and compassion. He shows by example how to walk the lonesome road of discipleship. Yes, the Samaritan demonstrates that the blessed road, spiritually speaking, is precisely this: how one walks the road. How does the Samaritan walk? He walks the way of inconvenience. In Martin Luther King Jr.'s final sermon in Memphis, Tennessee, before his assassination, the night before, he preached from this very parable. He noted that the priest and the Levite both asked themselves, "If I stop to help this man, what will happen to me?" King then continued by pointing out how the Good Samaritan reversed the question. If I do not stop to help this man, what will happen to him? He walks the way of betterment for the neighbor. He walks the way of thorough care, not just tokenistic charity. He walks the way of tearing down age-old prejudices and bigotry. Only one, this Samaritan, walked the same road in a godly way. We talk a blue streak these days, dear friends, about which road to take in our life journeys. We use a lot of language, fancy language, about discernment and decision-making at the crossroads of life. Frankly, most of the time, we make few decisions regarding these things. We take the trail of least resistance. That's our default position. We frequent the same roads over and over again. Many of us have well-established trails of travel. We have our rabbit trails. What varies is what we see or refuse to see or respond to along the way. The major question posed to us who call ourselves instruments of God's love and grace is chiefly this: how do we daily travel along the same roads we take? How deeply do we observe and do something about the injuries and injustices along the way? How shall we travel in order to travel the right road on the road of life? The Christian traveler who in truth walks life's road does not ask, "Where is the road?" but asks, "How I ought to walk along the road before me, as Christ has already led the way." The Christian asks how one can deeply see and address the wounds along the way. Do I see the Army veteran whose vehicle struck an IED on a dusty road in Iraq and express care? Do I feel deep compassion for the parade goer in Highland Park, Illinois, struck by a bullet in the July 4th parade? Do I pay attention to the account of the Philly driver rear-ended in road rage for having an equal sign sticker on the rear bumper of his Toyota? Do I rush to tend the wounds of the child only a week off training wheels who crashes her bike on the street? Now, worldly wisdom will tell us to remember our rights, avoid lawsuits, and not get too entangled in people's problems and pain. right? That's the default position. Our technology is designed to make us obsess on protecting and safeguarding what is our own along the road. We invest a lot in protecting our vehicles and our personhood and our households. Financial advisors tell us that too much generosity along the road might deplete our nest egg. Career planners will tell us that too much deviation along the road might sidetrack us from what we really want to do. Some psychologists even remind us that stopping beside the road to attend to another's disorder can interrupt our own efforts to create space for inner harmony, when the best for our health is actually doing what we can for the sake of another person. That helps us more psychologically than anything. The road of the Samaritan, however, commended by our Lord himself, is the journey of gut-stirring compassion, not callous apathy, not the default position. The road less but best traveled is the courage to stop and embrace the neighbor in love. The road led by our Lord to the cross and traveled by a generous Samaritan is the road of selflessness that befits us as true children of God. Despite all the voices within and around that tell us, don't go there, our Lord continues to say to each and every one of us, go there and do likewise. Thanks be to God.